undoubtedly a divide between people that think gear is everything, gear really matters, and other people that say that gear doesn't really matter that much to the final product of your videos. And this is definitely quite a controversial topic. I'm sure we might have some arguments going in the comments, but my goal for this video is to kind of compare these two setups right here. And I'm not necessarily gonna tell you guys if gear matters or not. Rather, we are gonna head out into the world, do a bit of a comparison here. I wanna show you guys, and you guys can decide for yourselves how much you actually think gear plays a part in the outcome of your videos. Our first shot is gonna be a bit of a tracking shot. We have this beautiful little pathway over here with some awesome light rays coming into frame. I'm gonna do one shot on each one of these setups, and the idea is that I'm just gonna track Hannah nicely, get a smooth shot of just following her, kind of looking into the light. Let's start off with the A6300 and the trusty kit lens. I just wanted to mention that I'm not being biased with either one of these setups, and I'm doing my absolute best to make this one look as good as I possibly can, likewise making this one look good as I possibly can. Next shot we're gonna be grabbing is just a shot of Hannah, and we're gonna do our best to blur out the background, getting a whole bunch of that bokeh effect to create a cinematic shot that is so popular. We are gonna see how we can emulate it on this one, as it being a crop sensor and this lens not being very fast, it's gonna be a little more tricky to get that bokeh, but I have a couple of tricks that I can do just to help me out a little bit, so let's see what we can do. Straight off, one of the biggest difference between these two setups when you guys are trying to achieve that blurry background is that this is a full frame camera. It makes it easier to get that shallow depth of field as opposed to this that is a crop sensor. The next thing that's really going to affect it is the lens. This one can go down to f2.8, which is much wider open than this one when it's fully zoomed in, being at f5.6, and that is one of the biggest differences that do that blurry background. I'm going to get a vlogging style shot where you're holding the camera like a selfie almost and just be talking to camera. For our extreme gear setup, we can do whatever we want with gear, so I'm going to change lens to my wider lens. This is going to be the 17-28 Tamron lens, and we can do our vlogging shot with this one. It's just going to look a little nicer because we have that wider field of view, and it's going to help when we're vlogging. The other biggest difference that this is going to have is that this setup has a microphone, which is going to be significantly higher quality audio than this inbuilt microphone, especially in a scenario where it might be a little bit windy. At least right now, the A6300 is lucking out because there is no wind here. This is our vlogging style setup, doing a little bit of talking to the camera. Like and subscribe. This is our vlogging style setup, talking to camera. Like and subscribe. For our last comparison shot, I'm just gonna get a little 3-shot sequence on each one of these setups, just walking around in the woods here. Any like cool shots that I see, I'm gonna stitch them together and we can have a look and we can see how different they end up being. Those are going to be all of the shots that we need on these two setups. Let's head back to the studio and we can check out what they look like. We are back in studio. We have the shots that we captured, and now we're going to do a little test and see if these guys can figure out which one of the shots were filmed on either one of the cameras. You guys, you think you're going to know?
I'm going to know for sure.
Let's see if you guys are going to know. And you guys are going to have to guess at home as well. So before I tell you which one of the shots is which, leave a little comment and see which one you guys think is which one. Before I show you guys the actual shot, let's take a little look at them without any movement, just paused on the video, and we can see if you guys can think of which one. So, this is the first shot. Camera A or camera B, let's say, try and guess which one is the A7 III.
Okay.
Camera A or camera B. Okay.
Dude, it's so obvious.
You think it's obvious?
Oh wait.
Okay, do you guys have an idea of which one you think is the Sony A7 III, camera A or camera B?
Oh wait, now I'm freaking out. Like I might have gotten it wrong.
I'm gonna go with camera A just because of how blown out the background is on
What
the
do you
left.
say?
Wait, you think it's wait?
No, don't listen to what he
Yeah,
says.
don't
You,
listen
you
to-
gotta
Oh my
pick
god.
one.
Okay. I think A is the nice camera.
So both of you guys are saying A is the A7 III, and you guys are correct. You can especially see as soon as you play it and you see the handheld like motion in the handheld shot, because the gimbal is like almost robotically like smooth.
But look how much brightness we have at the back. Like how much detail you have in the shadows there.
Yeah. So
that makes a big difference.
That is
the dynamic range
crazy.
on the A7 III is better then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just looks like.
Okay, next shot. Let's see the next one. Which one out of these? Guess the A7 III again.
Ooh, this
camera
is
A
harder.
Or camera B.
This is harder.
Keeping in mind, this is the blurry background shot and the full frame with a
Oh,
much...
that was the giveaway. Now I know.
Okay, well, the full frame with a much wider aperture on the lens should be like hugely different.
I'm going A again. It's the
Yeah.
full frame look is just can't debate.
Yeah, but
Okay.
also look at the like detail again in the dress. There's kind of nice warmer colors in B, which is nice. But yeah,
Go for camera A again.
yeah, it's funny.
Okay, you guys are right, but just take note. This is you comparing like a much higher end camera to the A6300, which is super old, and the kit lens, and like yes, you guys are getting them right,
Yeah.
but they're not that
But
different.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure of myself.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at them going, oh shit, what if I'm wrong?
Also, everyone's just, you're gonna render it out all small and watch it on a cell phone screen. You might not even know, especially when you're not looking at them side by side.
Yeah. I think the gimbal is more of a giveaway than the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like it actually makes more of a difference. First one or second one? This is our vlogging style setup, talking to camera, like and subscribe. This is our vlogging style setup, doing a little bit of talking to the camera, like and
Oh,
subscribe.
this is way
That
harder.
one.
Can you show me again?
No, I thought this one
Okay,
was so obvious.
Just because I was there, if I wasn't there, it would be harder.
Oh, I wasn't
Okay.
focusing, I was on my phone. No!
But even the fact that you have to watch it again, to have another look, I can't believe you have to watch it again. You guys so much fun.
Whatever.
The actual image isn't the giveaway. It's the good sound, but also the wider lens, because I knew that you switched out to the 17 specifically for
Yeah.
this.
I just thought the audio in the second one is so full sounding. It sounds like you're right there.
A or B?
I guess the second B is the good camera.
Okay. You guys are right. I think definitely the biggest difference in this one is the audio. Even though there was no wind, so you could actually get away with using the internal audio on the A6300 anyway.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the wider lens kind of has a nicer look to it. If you look between them,
I prefer
That's-
the
yeah.
more zoomed in actually. It makes your face look nicer.
Yeah, your nose isn't as
yeah,
I
distorted.
would've-
that one almost looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
And
it
it's-
more.
The white balance is better on that one as well.
Yeah, I've noticed the
the
colors
auto
are a
white
little bit
balance.
nicer
Yeah.
and warmer and stuff on that one.
Huh, interesting. See? One more little test, which is going to be the little sequence of shots where we film 3 shots on each one of the things. This one you have to play it in motion, so I think the one being handheld and the one being on a gimbal is going to be the dead giveaway, but let's have a look at them anyway, and you guys leave which one you think again down below. First one.
Nice shot.
Second one.
It tricked me because now the second one is warmer. Which just makes me think it was the other one. But I think there's more camera handshake in the first one. You did pretty good with that handheld for one of those,
Yeah.
though. They both look like gimbal shots.
I watched the first one and thought that was the A7 III.
Yeah.
But now that I've seen
Yeah.
the second one, it is obvious that the first one was the A6300.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got us.
Yeah, I think if you didn't use the crappy kit lens that came with the A6300
Yeah.
and used a nice prime, this would have been much, much harder.
Yeah, And if it wasn't on the gimbal, or if they were both on the gimbal, like if we had a super budget gimbal for the A6300 and we put them like that.
Yeah.
That is super interesting, and I think kind of impressive that the A6300 is so comparable to the A7 III, even though it's significantly cheaper with the kit lens and like none of the fancy stuff. It really puts up a good fight.
And for the same price as the body and the lens for the better camera, you could buy the whole setup with the cheaper camera, and then you've got like audio and a gimbal and a camera. You can shoot anything.
If you put a little more money into having a much better lens on the A6300, I don't think there's going to be much of a difference at all.
And then you can upgrade later when you have the cash.
Leave down in the comments how many you guys got right, and don't cheat. You have to say how many you got right, because I'm pretty shocked at the results, to be honest.
And we're really familiar with these cameras and like these setups.
So honestly, I'm not gonna sit here while I film on a $5,000 camera setup and tripod monitor with $3,000 worth of lights and tell you that gear doesn't make a difference at all. I think it does, but maybe just not quite as much as everybody makes it out to. I was super surprised by how similar the results were and how epic the results are from the budget setup, but I definitely do think that having a more professional setup with much more professional gear, higher end lenses, better quality audio is of course gonna make a difference. If anything, it's just gonna make your life as a creator much easier to get the desired image and look and everything that you guys are after. It's gonna make it much easier to achieve that really nice professional look. But there is a caveat to this. I think what most people are trying to say when they say gear doesn't matter is that you shouldn't be restricted by not having the best gear, and you shouldn't let it stop you from creating anyway. If you guys are just getting into it, it's completely normal to be shooting your first videos on your smartphone or on like a really low end setup, maybe something like the A6300 or significantly worse. If you are a race car driver, you're not gonna start off learning how to drive a car by being thrown straight into like a Formula One racing car. You're gonna start in like a beginner car, you're gonna develop your skills, and then as you progress, you're gonna move on to better and better gear. And it's the exact same thing for something like photography and videography. Learning to use the camera that you have to the best of its ability is gonna, in the long run, make you a much better creator, and it's gonna give you the skill set that you need for when they go, hey man, it's your time to get in that Formula One car. You're gonna know what to do, and you're gonna have a much better idea of how to make that Formula One car drive exactly how you want it to. So I think at the end of the day, the most important thing to take away from this is that you guys should definitely just create with whatever you have. Don't let that cripple you, and don't let that stop you from trying to do something. And remember to have fun with it. That's gonna be the most important thing at the end of the day. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video interesting, insightful. Maybe it gave you a better idea of how much of a difference gear actually does make. And I'm excited to see your comments down there and see how many of you guys guessed which one was which. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.